This is After the Fire, a series about history after the events. Each season follows the long relationship between two worlds. For much of their history, Egypt and Ethiopia were never the centre of empire. They were its edges. Great powers passed through the Mediterranean and the Middle East, proclaiming universal rule. But when those empires looked south, they saw distance, difficulty, and limits. From the Nile Valley and the Ethiopian Highlands, Rome, Byzantium, and later the Islamic caliphates appeared not as absolute masters of the world, but as forces whose reach weakened with every mile. This is a story about how empires look when you are not inside their story. If this speaks to you, stay with us. Like, subscribe, and tell us what you think. Chapter 1. Rome and the Limits of the Mediterranean. To Rome, Egypt was essential. It was the empire's granary, its most valuable province, tightly integrated into the Mediterranean system. Roman emperors ruled Egypt carefully, limiting senatorial access and treating Alexandria as a strategic nerve centre. But south of Egypt, Roman authority faded quickly. Roman expeditions reached Nubia, but they did not settle it. Trade continued along the Nile and across the Red Sea, yet political control did not follow. Ethiopia, known vaguely as Ethiopia in classical sources, existed more as an idea than a province, a distant land of wealth, heat, and unfamiliar customs. From Ethiopia's perspective, Rome was not a conqueror. It was a trading partner, a source of prestige goods, and a distant power whose influence arrived indirectly through coins, merchants, and diplomatic contact rather than armies. Aksumite rulers minted coins styled after Roman models, not as submission, but as participation in a wider economic language. Rome mattered, but it never defined the region. Chapter 2. Byzantium, Faith and Selective Connection. As the Roman world transformed into Byzantium, the nature of contact changed. Christianity became the most important connective tissue between Egypt and Ethiopia. Alexandria emerged as a religious centre whose influence reached deep into the Ethiopian Highlands. Ethiopian Christianity developed through dialogue with Egyptian Coptic traditions, not through direct imperial control. This was a relationship shaped by theology, not administration. Byzantium never governed Ethiopia and rarely attempted to. Instead, it interacted through diplomacy, trade, and shared religious concern. Ethiopia stood at the edge of the Christian world, inside its spiritual horizon, but outside its political reach. From this distance, empire appeared negotiable. Faith could be shared without obedience. Cultural exchange could occur without occupation. Ethiopia's kings embraced Christianity while remaining firmly independent, shaping a version of the faith adapted to local tradition and geography. Byzantium loomed large in texts. On the ground, it remained far away. Chapter 3. Islam and a reoriented world. The rise of Islam reshaped the region more deeply than Rome or Byzantium ever had. Egypt became part of the Islamic world early, integrating into new networks of trade, scholarship, and governance. The Nile Valley reoriented toward Mecca, Medina, and later Cairo as centers of authority. Ethiopia's experience was different. Islam arrived across the Red Sea not primarily as conquest, but as presence. Muslim communities settled, traded, and lived alongside Christian populations. Early Islamic tradition remembered Ethiopia as a place of refuge, not hostility, a memory that shaped relations for centuries. From Ethiopia, the Islamic world appeared powerful but not overwhelming. It influenced trade routes, diplomatic calculations, and regional balance, yet it did not erase older structures. Ethiopia remained outside caliphal rule, negotiating its position from the margins rather than submitting to the centre. Empire, once again, looked different from afar. After the fire of empire, Egypt and Ethiopia occupied a familiar position. They were shaped by great powers without being fully absorbed by them. They engaged selectively, adopted what served them, and resisted what did not. Seen from the Nile and the Highlands, empires were never total. They were forces to be managed, not destinies to be accepted. Stay with us, like, subscribe, and tell us what you think.